Hey everyone, Matt Thomas here with your EL Moment of the Week, or, seeing as though I do these every 3 weeks, your EL Moment of the 3 weeks. In my last video, I talked about how reading and writing are two of the most difficult tasks our EL students are taking on. In this video, I want to focus on one of the most effective ways to teach reading, whether it be an EL student or a native English speaker. As I've said before, there's no part of the brain that specializes in reading, meaning that we're not born being able to decipher arbitrary symbols such as an alphabet for comprehension. You see, unless there are developmental issues, people are born with the natural ability to hear and speak. Reading, however, is a learned skill. Even though there isn't any one part of the brain that specializes in reading, there is, however, a lot of brain activity that happens when a person reads. To learn to read effectively, there are three main components that have to happen in the brain. The first is to identify the written letters and the sounds that go along with them. This is done in the temporal lobe. The second is the pronunciation of the word, which is done in the frontal lobe. And finally, being able to fully comprehend what's being read, which is done in the angular and supramarginal gyrus regions of the brain. Identification, pronunciation, and comprehension. Having all three working together are key to effective reading. So how does this help us as teachers? Well, although it may seem beneficial to have students read aloud in class, such as popcorn reading, when a student is asked to read aloud, the comprehension part of the brain tends to shut off. Students tend to focus on identifying the words and pronouncing them correctly, but they'll have trouble with comprehending what they just read. Essentially, they're trying not to embarrass themselves in front of others. A teacher may think that because only one student is reading aloud, that means the others are comprehending the reading well. Oftentimes, though, students are just nervously following the words so they don't lose their place when they're called on. That nervousness can really hinder the comprehension portion of the reading. So what is a more effective way of reading in class? It's by having the teacher play the audio of the text, or the teacher reading aloud, and allowing the students to follow along in the textbook. That takes away the nervousness and allows for all three aspects of reading to be present. Listening to the text and following along allows the students to identify the words while hearing the correct pronunciation. This will aid in comprehension and is how most children learn to read. This all happens very quickly in native speakers, but can help EL students who are learning to read in their new language. Now you may be wondering, how can I trust that my students are paying attention while listening to the audio and following along with the text? Now you can either offer comprehension checks or quizzes, but there comes a time where it's our job to teach and their job to learn. That being said, if we offer our students the most effective way of learning, then we give the best opportunity for success. I'm Matt Thomas, and that was your EL Moment of the Week.